I absolutely stomped on Nexto, a bot that's supposed to be Grand Champ level. That rank has actually eluded me so far in 1v1 this season, and yet this game was not even close. So how did this happen? Is Nexto really a Grand Champion? Here's the story. In case you've been living under a rock, AI is all the rage these days. It is built into your phones and computers and used to tackle all kinds of tasks, even video games, where the most impressive result so far has been in Dota 2. OpenAI has managed to create a bot that beat the international two-time champs OG. In Rocket League, there are some passionate community members trying to do the same, and their best attempt so far has yielded Nexto. RocketScience revealed Nexto in a 2v2 versus Grand Champs, beating them 2 out of 2 games. Sunless tried beating it in 1v1 with mild success. But when I saw them all play, I went full YouTube commenter and thought to myself, ha, I could easily beat that. Then I found out you can actually play against the bot yourself, and I could put my theory to the test.
Oh, this is going to be easy.
Let's go. No! Oh no. Oh no, 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 no.
Oh, this is going to be easy.
There we go. Easy, I told ya. God damn it. Oh, okay. Flick it. Oh, what? Let's go. Too damn easy. Oh. No! If you know anything about this channel, it's that we don't allow a sample size of 1. So I queued another match and lost. And another one. And I lost. Yeah, I lost 4 straight. But really, I was just learning all of Nexto's weaknesses and building the holy trifecta, which would allow me to ultimately stomp Nexto. What's the holy trifecta, you ask? Well, to understand that, you first need to understand how Nexto works. Nexto works by following a concept called deep reinforcement learning. An attempt to make a machine work and learn like a brain. To achieve that, we need a network of neurons. Although in reality, we use more of a simplified mathematical abstraction of what a real neuron does. To use the neural net, Nexto gets information such as player positions, velocities, as well as the ball's position and velocity fed directly into its brain. That causes neurons to fire, which in turn causes further neurons to fire, going through many layers of virtual brain until we basically get to an output where we have more connections that feed into this output, and then this output is basically an action that Nexto wants to take, such as, for example, turn right. To clarify, there are output neurons for every possible action the bot can take, and we pick the one with the strongest signal. And here's the crux. If you had a sufficiently complex neural network with all the right connections, you would get superhuman output at the end. That is not even a question. But the question is, how do you get the right connections? This is where reinforcement learning gets its name. Imagine trying to train a dog. When the dog does what you want, you give it a reward in the form of a treat. That's positive reinforcement. For the machine, you simply give it a function to evaluate how well it did. To create the best possible bot, we only care whether it wins. However, if we only give a reward after 5 minutes of gameplay, how would the bot know which of the actions during those 5 minutes have led to the reward? As humans, it's easy to take a step back and realize that you're playing a game of carball, identify the ball, and just push it towards the opposing side. A strategy so simple that any human beginner can do it. The bot, however, can't. As the creator of the bot, it is possible to change the reward function to make it more specific for each action. But this is dangerous as it can often lead to unintended behavior. Here's what I mean. If you reward the bot for any shot on net, it might find a way to quickly amass a lot of shots, and then it actually doesn't care about winning anymore because it can get the points this way. Well, how do we actually use the reward to adjust the connections between the neurons? Well, simply put, we take the connections that fired before the reward and we strengthen them. But so many things happen in just a few seconds of gameplay that each action you actually take is really not important on average. That's why we can only change the connections very, very slightly. Over time, the noise filters out and the good connections come out on top. That's why Nexto is trained for 250,000 hours. Even with this amount of training, one of the most difficult issues of reinforcement learning is long-term planning. What I mean by long-term planning is doing an action now to get the reward later. For Nexto, that is visible with boost. This is very difficult to learn because there's this vicious cycle where you don't pick up boost, so you don't really know how to take advantage of it, and now you haven't picked up boost, so you can't learn how to take advantage of it. So you're back to A. And at A, even if you do pick up the boost, you're not as good at making use of it yet, and therefore the reward is not as high, making it more likely that you won't pick up boost next time. And so, in 1v1, Nexto often doesn't even do the slightest pathing adjustment to get a boost. And as humans, that's going to be the first part of our trifecta. The next thing we've learned is that Nexto trains through self-play. If it doesn't do something, that means it actually has never seen that something. For example, flip resets, double taps, any advanced move on the wall. And my favorite to add to the trifecta, a simple wall-to-air dribble. Nexto almost never even tries to challenge you on the wall in 1v1, so you have all the time in the world to set up this play. And you can just rinse and repeat it for consistent free goals. One important part on these air dribbles is that you need to speed up the ball in one swift motion. That is what catches Nexto out. If you tipple the ball slowly, even into the top corner, Nexto will surprise you with some amazing saves. So what's the third part of the trifecta? Well, turns out Nexto's kickoffs are actually hard-coded. And while they're not terrible, they're anything but perfect. If you know how to consistently do a good speed flip kickoff, you simply need to focus up and do it. You should be able to win it the vast majority of the time. And that's where it plays perfectly with the rest of the trifecta. Because once you've won it, you don't actually need to push your advantage like you would against a human. You simply take the ball, drive it towards the wall, grab that boost, start your air dribble, and you get a free goal. That's how you stomp on Nexto. So what rank do I think Nexto is then? Before I answer that question, I want to make it clear that I'm not showing that Nexto is exploitable to make the developers look bad. Since I started editing this video, the final iteration of Nexto has been released, and it hasn't changed anything about the strategy. But the developers have also begun training a new bot called Techo, which has a 10 times more complex brain. It is expected to get noticeably better, and anything I showed here might no longer be possible against it. Nexto's case is certainly not unique. The AI that beat the best Dota 2 players in the world actually got beaten multiple times by amateurs finding exploitable strategies. And unfortunately, there are much more dangerous exploits, as some researchers demonstrated when they made an AI misclassify a stop sign as a 45 mph speed limit sign just by adding a few stickers. If you do take anything away from this exploit, it should be about the current limits of AI and its dangers. So what rank is Nexto? Regardless of exploitability, you still have to execute the mechanics to even have a chance at beating Nexto. And I would imagine that diamonds are going to have a tough time here, winning more than 1 out of 5 games or something like that. champs will still have their work cut out to win the majority of the time. And if they try to beat Nexto like a regular player, then they are the ones getting stomped on. And yeah, I actually managed to lose a few games since I invented this strategy. So I can only draw one conclusion. Nexto is absolutely a grand champion.